It's been confirmed. Next season is Mark Noble's final season as a West Ham United player. Oh, I'm not ready for this. It's expected, isn't it? It is expected, but I'm not ready for it today. I'm not going to be ready for it tomorrow. And in 15 months' time, when he waves goodbye to the faithful, I'm not going to be ready for it then. I'm going to be an emotional wreck. Mark Noble, that's it. Next season is his last season. Anyway, he's wrote a massive letter to the West Ham fans on the official website. I've got a copy of it here. I'm going to read some of it out to you as well and go through it. But anyway, he starts off by wishing everybody well. Then he basically says that I want to write this letter to personally tell you that I'm delighted to have accepted the opportunity to extend my contract with the club until the summer 22. I've also decided after much consideration the next season will be my 18th and final one as a first team player at West Ham United. It's a decision I have made following a lot of discussion with my family, my friends and people at the football club. I've also had conversations with the manager and it's clear that he and the club want to build something and to continue to take the club forward in a positive way, a way I fully believe in, while my desire to keep pushing the ethos and values of West Ham United, especially to our new signings and young players coming through academy, as strong as ever. Now the next bit is the bit I like, and we'll get onto that. I'll give my opinion on that in a second. He says, first and foremost, I still firmly believe I have a lot to offer on the pitch. I would not have signed a new contract if I didn't feel I could do myself justice or bring value to the team. And then he goes to speak about how he's not had any serious injuries in his career. I think he's bang on this season. Over the last couple of seasons, we've been wanting to see Mark Noble do more of this role, which is a squad player, filling in as and when, coming on in games when we need him, playing in certain games that require him. And so has Mark Noble. You know, time again, he gets interviewed and he speaks about bringing in younger legs. At one point, he even said, I think it was last season, about how he's been playing more games than he should be at his age and stuff. So he's been crying out to do this role since then. And this season, I think he's been brilliant. Has he been influential as he has been? No. But in terms of fulfilling his role, which is a squad player, I think his performances have been really good. We've been using him better. I think the only one game that comes to mind that perhaps wasn't the right game to use him was Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. But he didn't play badly. It's just that I don't think it was the right game. I think we got the tactics wrong that day. Simple as that. But generally speaking, I think it makes sense. I'm glad that he's staying on in terms of a footballing reason rather than an emotional one, because I would have liked to have him to stay on for an emotional one as well, because I don't want him going away in an empty stadium or 10,000 fans against Southampton. There was lucky 10,000 fans. Don't want a Willy Wonka golden ticket scenario going on here. We want him to go out in front of 60,000 at the London Stadium like he deserves to, and I think next season he deserves to stay on for footballing reasons, not just the emotional, the servant, none of that stuff. Purely, does he have something to offer to the squad? I think based on what we saw this season, absolutely he does, and I think Moyes is using him correctly, and I think when he's been called upon, I think he's done really well. He goes on to speak about how the COVID and the pandemic's been a bit of a challenge and the toughest one yet so far in his career. And he just said that coming back from lockdown, fighting to ensure our Premier League status was the hardest time in his career, but the players and staff from then until now have been second to none. The way we have fought for each other, but us all even closer together, something that which has helped drive us on this season. What makes it easier is the fact that we're all pulling in the same direction and want the same thing. In my time at West Ham, the spirit among the squad and everyone at the club is as good as it has ever been. I'm so proud of how everyone at West Ham has come together in the last 12 months. Then he goes on to speak about, the fact they've done some really good work in the community, and then from speaking to friends and family that we've all been enjoying watching them and that they feel the support. And then he goes on to say, as I've said on a few occasions this year, I don't focus so much on myself or my own situation nowadays. What gives me more satisfaction than anything is seeing the team do well. I have always put the football club before myself, and I will continue to do so. Our motivation now is the desire for us to continue that next season. This year has already been a great run, but whatever happens between now and the end of the campaign, we want to build on that consistency and progress next year when we are back alongside them to enjoy it. I think, again, he's right, isn't he? For the first time, while we as fans get frustrated with sort of the lack of long-term plan, the long-term project, the short-term sort of bumpiness in the road, out of everyone in the club, anyone that's going to feel it the most is people like Mark Noble and the West Ham fans that work in the staff as well. They're going to feel it too. And I remember when we were fortunate enough to work with the club back in 2015-16, we had a meeting at Upton Park and there was someone that worked there that was a West Ham fan, and we were basically talking about how when we lose, we, myself and Gonzo, are obviously going to criticise the team because we were a bit worried that working with a club they would try and restrict us, which they never did. They never ever told us what to say and what not to say. And in that meeting there was a West Ham fan, and that West Ham fan said to us, just because we can't say it doesn't mean we don't think it. And that's always registered with me, because there is West Ham fans there that care about the club, and when it's going well they love it just as much as we do. When it's going tough, they feel it just as much as we do, possibly even more because they work there. But so it ties into what Mark Noble was saying about the team spirit, the mentality. Everyone at the club at the minute's in a good place. The club's in a good place, and it probably does help Mark Noble sort of passing the baton on to Declan Rice or 8 other players, knowing that the club is in good hands going forward. He just then says that I, for one, have missed you so much, walking out of the London Stadium in front of 60,000 people, listening to bubbles ringing out and roar when it stops just before kick-off. There's nothing quite like it. It's another part of the reason I've signed the contract extension. Thought finishing my career playing for West Ham in empty stadiums is something I can't comprehend, and the recent positive news means we hope to have you alongside us again before the season is out. Throughout my time here, I'm immensely proud to have captained the team the past 5 seasons, from an incredible last season up to in part to the first one at London Stadium. That's something that I'll always remember, and is history for me and my family. And this is where the emotional side of it comes in, and I think he's right. Would he have signed a contract extension purely for that? I don't think so. I think he's got far too much integrity. I don't know him. I don't know the bloke from Adam. Never met him. Never spoken to him or anything like that. But you just know, don't you? Same as people like Declan Rice, you just know. And when he says that he puts the club before himself, well, who doesn't believe him? I don't think anyone doesn't believe him. We've seen it time and time again. Like I said, I go back to what I said earlier. He's told us that he doesn't want to be playing as much football. He wants to do what's right, which is get in younger legs, get in younger players, and make the squad better, make the first team better. And if that means him sitting out, so be it. When we got beat by Man United in the FA Cup, he did a post-match interview on the pitch, and he said that that was his last ever time at Old Trafford. And an interviewer reminded him, we've still got to go there in the league, and he laughed and said, but I'm not in the team at the minute. But you could see that he was almost glad that he wasn't in the team, because he's been kept out by the performances of others and stuff. And I think that's sort of Mark Noble to a T, really. Love the bloke. I just love the bloke. He then goes on to say that he's really proud, he's a fan and stuff. I don't want to say it too much. You can go read it for yourself on the official website. He just says he doesn't know what his future holds just yet. If there's one thing I've learned in football, is that you can't look too far ahead, because things can always change very quickly. The extension will take me into my 18th season for the first team at West Ham. I've not always been the easiest to live with, especially when results haven't gone for us, and my wife Carly and my children Honey and Lenny have had to bear the brunt of that at times. And then he goes on to speak about how he's involved with the academy a little bit because of his kid, and then he's looking forward to more time, regards as one of the best academies in the world, and continues affiliation with a club he holds close to his heart. He says, my connection and love for West Ham United will be forever. Well, there you go. I've managed to read that without crying, which is I'm quite impressed with, to be honest with you. It's a touching letter, as you'd expect. I think the key there is he hasn't got a plan after the next season. It'd be interesting to see if he goes and plays a year or two at a lower league level, because he's definitely got the ability, hasn't he? And fitness is never an issue with him. He's always been fit, he's just not fast. There's a big difference between the two things. So he could probably go and do a year or two at a lower league level if he wants. Personally, I hope he hangs up his boots for good. I hope next season is his final season as a player, and he immediately goes into the back room at West Ham United. He immediately joins the staff. And I think the management team that David Moyes has got will suit Mark Noble. It would be harder for someone like Mark Noble, I imagine, to go work for the South American management team with Pellegrini and all that, with his South American backroom staff. It would have probably been slightly trickier, whereas at the minute we've got a very English backroom staff. Kevin Nolan's a huge part of that already, and Noble share a pitch with Kevin Nolan. Mark Noble will know Nolan really well. He'll obviously be working alongside David Moyes, probably closer than any manager he's ever worked to, because on the training ground and stuff, previous years you'd expect Noble to be on the training part more and more because he's involved in the game. But now he's not in the team. I wouldn't be surprised if he was almost doing sort of a half coaching role or something. We know he's doing his coaching badges and stuff as well, so I just hope that next season he retires. I know he's played for clubs in the past like Ipswich, but I'd like to see him finish West Ham next season. And that's it. So when he goes, and when he goes in basically he walks off the pitch says goodbye as a player, and goes and stands next to David Moyes on the touchline to continue his journey at West Ham, just in a different role. So while it's sort of, we're saying goodbye to Mark Noble as the player, we won't be saying goodbye to Mark Noble, Mr. West Ham. He'll always be there. My favourite all-time Hammer. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this at all. It's sad, isn't it? It's really, really sad, actually, because I just love the guy to bits, and I hope that next year we have to win a cup. We've got to win a cup next year, and I don't care. We all laughed at John Terry for doing the whole strip thing. Do you know something? I'd completely forgive. We were playing Wembley, Mark Noble come on the 89th minute, and then went and lifted the trophy with Declan. I'd love that. We've got to go for a cup next season for a Mark Noble event. If it's not enough to do it for yourselves as footballers and the football club and the fans, do it for that guy you've been sharing a changing room with. Next year we must win a cup and let Mark Noble go out with a trophy, with a bit of silverware to his name as a West Ham fan and a West Ham player, more importantly. Anyway, my captain, my legend, love the bloke, Mark Noble. I'm feeling emotional. I'm going to disappear. If you've enjoyed this video, drop a like on it. I'm going to put a link to the article on the official website in the description below. So you haven't read it and you want to read it without my voice, I've only read a bit of it as well out. So go click on it, have a little read. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in a bit.